On today's show, the Christmas break is here, and the stats show that the Ottawa Senators are heading in the right direction.
And we've got a SensCentral Citizen.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and today's episode it's brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Our friends over at FanDuel want you to get into the action this season by visiting FanDuel.com and placing your live bets all season long. Today is Wednesday, December 24th, and Pillsy, I finally got the bad taste out of my mouth of that overtime winner last night. The Buffalo Sabres win streak is 7. The Senators win streak is over after 4 games. But if you zoom out, they're still in a pretty good spot here. 5-1-1 in their last 7 heading into the break.
There we go. That's what I like to hear, Ross. Some holiday optimism here. It's not all doom and gloom. The Senators should be happy with where they are, in my opinion. Sure, would you like to be in a playoff spot come Christmas? Absolutely. But you're 1 point out of the second wild card spot and only 2 points out from being third in the Atlantic Division. So you're in a good spot here. And LOSP stats department did some digging today, and there's reasons why you should be optimistic that this team can not only stay in this spot, but hopefully improve a little bit as well.
So now let's get to the middle of the sandwich. Yeah, the Senators are improved, but the fact of the matter is there's a number of other teams within the division who are also improved, from Detroit to Buffalo most notably, and then the Panthers without their key players, and Matthew Tkachuk is about to start practicing and get back in the mix. They're finding impressive ways to win, comeback victories. They're going to be a problem. The only team really that you can surely say that was in the top 3 last year that stinks is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And they even got a win yesterday. So against Pittsburgh, but yeah, they're heading into the break on a win, and it'll be Battle of Ontario Saturday night, hockey night in Canada on the 27th to return.
Kind of wish that they gave a game before that one. Like, it just feels like those games are typically pretty sloppy. Teams aren't allowed to travel until the 27th. So it's kind of like a preseason schedule where you fly out in the morning and you play that night. It's, yeah, sure, a 40-minute drive or flight to get to Toronto, but even that said, and do they have to go to Pearson? They should be able to fly to Billy Bishop.
Don't know. We'll have to get airplane experts on that one.
Yeah. While they're there, they can tell us about the San Jose, the quiet time at night and where the teams can fly in there. That said, it's to me the type of game where it'd be nice to have one for both teams before you get into it, but it could be extra chaotic. The first meeting since last year's playoff series between the Sens and the Leafs, and wouldn't that just be something to kind of put them down even more of a notch? They just fired their assistant coach Mark Savard 2 days before Christmas because their power play stinks this year. But we'll get to our game day preview on Friday. Let's look at some of the numbers. We'll get later on after the Citizen to the numbers for the Senators this year compared to last year at the Christmas break. But I also went through this morning, and the LSP stats department as a whole discovered a few numbers where the Senators are either top 5 or bottom 5 in the league. Should we start with the good, the bad, or the ugly, Pills?
Let's get the ugly out of the way.
The ugly is that the Ottawa Senators are dead last in the National Hockey League in save percentage, which is a pretty key area. Got to stop pucks to win games.
I would not have guessed that at the start of the year or in the offseason, Ross. I mean, Linus Ullmark was looking good. Levi Marilainen essentially saved the Ottawa Senators season when Linus Ullmark was out with an incredible stretch of games as a young goalie with only a handful of NHL games under his belt before that. So to have this team dead last in save percentage, it's shocking. And for the team to be where they are with that dragging them down is very impressive.
And they're also dead last in save percentage while shorthanded, despite the penalty kill actually playing pretty well in terms of doing the job to keep them to the outside and limit those high danger opportunities. The Senators have actually given up the second fewest expected goals against on the penalty kill, but they've allowed the most goals.
Well, it's the old saying, Ross, your best penalty killer has to be your goalie. So when the goalies aren't holding up as well as we would hope or expect them to, shorthanded, that's going to bring down your overall penalty kill percentage, which the Ottawa Senators are 31st in the league. Only the Seattle Kraken have a worse penalty kill. The Sens sit at 71.7%. But I agree with you. That doesn't necessarily match the eye test. I feel like they do a good job when they're killing penalties at least limiting high danger scoring opportunities, but they're just not able to get those saves they need.
No, but the penalty kill does have to improve. It cannot stay in the bottom two. It can't even stay in bottom five. We need to get that thing up. And look, you're far enough in the season now. The percentages are going to be hard to drastically change, but this has to improve to be at least in the middle third of the National Hockey League if the Senators are going to make a run. Other notes, both within the bottom five, and they are all to do with stopping the puck. The Senators rank third last in the National Hockey League in high danger save percentage, which obviously they're hard shots, they're scoring chances, but it's the same for everybody. And Ottawa needs to get some big time saves from Linus Ullmark in particular in these big spots. So that's one thing I'm going to be watching for in the new year. Like when they give up a breakaway, when they give up a 2-on-1, how is Linus Ullmark going to step up and get this team some wins? Because I think that this fan base, and maybe it's the pedigree, a guy comes in here with a Vezina trophy in his back pocket, fresh Vezina trophy in his back pocket. I get that he's going to have a bit more leash, but his numbers are reminiscent of goalies who got absolutely crucified in this market. I'm looking at Matt Murray in particular. And there's just not that same feeling around Linus Ullmark. And this January, February, March to me is about as big of a 3-month stretch as there's been for a Senators goalie since Ray Emery had to step up after the 2006 Olympics as a 23-year-old and play almost every single night for a championship quality team in front of him.
Yeah, now we do have to give Linus Ullmark some credit. He's picked things up in December.
Second
before
the week,
second star of the week. Before last night's game, he was 5-2-0 with a 2.19 goals against and a 912 save percentage. So
in what in December?
Before last night's game, yes,
right.
I believe so.
So what happened last night?
880. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't spectacular. But again, we said it in the postcast, Ross. Linus Ullmark didn't lose that game for the Sens.
Correct.
He gave them a chance to at least be in it, and you lose in overtime. I mean, you're right there. So he's a very streaky goaltender from what we've seen. But he can get on hot streaks that can be amazing. Like last December, he put this team on his back, and he was incredible. So you're hoping that he can fully keep this good streak going into I was gonna say the new year, but there are 2 games before the new year, so into leading after the holiday break and continue on into the new year.
I just want a consistent goal, and I know it's so much
luck.
easier said than done. Even the best goalies have struggles when it comes to keeping that save percentage on a nice even keel, but that's the dream, man. Like, think about Craig Anderson. It was like one great year, one okay year, one amazing year, one okay year. But you just want Linus Ullmark, who right now has a career 900 save percentage. So we're at least at that 900 threshold. Actually, identical stats. Linus Ullmark and Levi Merilainen with the Ottawa Senators both have 900 save percentages. Levi with a slightly better goals against average, but those are 2 guys, and Linus is coming up on almost a full season played for the Sens. He's played 71 games now, so this is the time for Linus to really grab the bull by the horns, just like he did down the stretch last year. I'm going to be watching for Linus Ullmark because a lot of these numbers we're bringing up, and we went through all of them, where the Senators are last or in the bottom 5 in the league. It all has to do with goaltending right now, because if you look at the numbers at 5-on-5, Pilsy, you look at the offensive numbers, the power play, the goals for per game, everything is improved, and some are even top 5 in the National Hockey League.
Honestly, Ross, I might be looking more at Levi-Merlainen to step up more than Linus. I mean, like,
No.
Linus Allmark is 14-8-5. Now we talk about, obviously, that helps when the team is doing good. I know that's where you're going to go, but
no, that's more losses than wins.
No, it's not.
No, what's the OT losses?
Not a math guy. 14-8-5.
8-5 is 13. Okay,
not more than
one
14.
more game.
Yeah, but
sick.
Levi-Merlainen has not won one more game. He's 4-5 with a 3.4 goals against average. That's much higher than Linus Allmark's goals against average, and then an 872 save percentage, which is obviously lower than Allmark. Like, because you need to see some confidence when Levy's in there. Like, I wanted, like, last year when Levy was starting, it was like, we are more than likely going to win this game. Like, this guy's going to shut the door. And he hasn't really had that. So, because Linus Allmark is playing so many games, he's among one of the top goalies in games played. So you need to have that confidence in your backup that he can get it done when Linus needs the night off.
Yes, and looking at goaltenders this year, Linus Allmark has started 27 games, which is tied for 4th, only behind UC Saros, Karel Vejmelka, and Igor Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Shesterkin with 30 starts already so far this season. All right. On the other side of things, the stats that are very impressive for the Ottawa Senators this year, they are, and this kind of goes perpendicular the other way with how bad the goaltending's been. The Ottawa Senators are first. They have the lowest 5-on-5 expected goals against average in the National Hockey League, 2.23. Number one, nobody gives up less high-quality shots than the Ottawa Senators at 5-on-5.
And we'll get into that after the break.
Okay, you heard it from Pilsy. Up next, what are the Senators elite at this season and the reasons for optimism? Then we'll get to our SensCentral Citizen and some stats that show the Sens this year versus last year at the Christmas break.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every snap, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. And it's not just NFL football that you can bet on FanDuel, Ross. You can bet on, will it be a white Christmas or not? Now, if I was in Ross's position in Florida, I certainly would know how I'm betting, but you can bet in Toronto 0 to 5 centimeters on December 25th, minus 1,500, 6 to 10 centimeters, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 plus, all those you can bet on FanDuel. You can even bet temperature at midnight on New Year's Day in Toronto. Like, they have so much you can bet on FanDuel. And if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
All right, shout out to all the everydayers making us your first listen across the Locked On Podcast Network. It is pre-Christmas. We hope everybody is spending some great time with family and friends. Some are crawling all over me. That's the thing, Pilsy. When I'm outside and the windows are here, how can I say no to that face? She just wants to say hi. You want to say hi? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So what are the Ottawa Senators extremely good at?
Well, let's take a look at that. The Ottawa Senators, I'll start with the one thing we've been talking about all year, Ross, the basic analytics for a simple guy like me. winning faceoffs. Faceoff win percentage, they are second in the entire league at 56.4%. Only the Toronto Maple Leafs are better, so that'll be a very interesting stat to watch as the Sens and Leafs match up for the first time on December 27th, especially because if you're a Sens fan, losing some key faceoffs in the series, particularly in game one, was very apparent that was leading to Toronto scoring opportunities, and they capitalized on them, and it caused huge momentum swings throughout the entire series. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. But you look at Tim Stützle really improving in the faceoff dot. Claude Giroux, obviously one of the greatest faceoff percentage guys in the NHL. Shane Pinto is really good in the dot, even though he's been injured. Ridley Gregg improving as well. Then, of course, you got Brady Tkachuk, who is a winger but takes draws too. So, like, this team has been able to dominate in the faceoff dot, and I always say it, that helps lead to positive possession stats, and it just helps you control the pace of the game, especially when you're winning those defensive zone draws, so that you can alleviate some of the pressure, get line changes, get that puck out of the zone.
Yeah, my only problem with winning faceoffs is I look at the teams and three.
You got a problem with winning faceoffs?
No, I love it, but three of the top 5 teams in faceoff percentage, 4 actually. Like, are the Rangers outside now looking in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 of the top 5 teams in faceoffs are not currently sitting in a playoff spot.
No, I mean, the Rangers are tied in points for a playoff spot. The Sens are 1 point back, and the Leafs suck. So
yeah. And the Predators, they've won 3 in a row, but they also have had a tough season.
It's not everything, and maybe I put more emphasis on it than I should, but I just feel like
there should be another one called key face-offs, where it's last couple minutes of the period, or there's
are we going to get into
momentum.
face-offs win above expected and
Exactly.
all that stuff? Nice.
No, key face-off percentage. I like that one. It's the equivalent of like high danger save percentage. Like,
so what constitutes as a key face-off?
No idea.
That's where it's tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky, and that's outside of our pay grade. But what isn't is looking into other numbers that the Senators are good at. The Sens at 5-on-5, their scoring chances percentage is 4th in the National Hockey League. And this all stems from how good they are defensively.
Yep.
Because they don't give up many scoring chances. They don't give up many shots on goal. That's why these percentages are always high. The offense is about middle of the pack. And sure, it's gotten better with Timmy being on an absolute heater. Brady coming back, being point per game. Obviously, Batherson's been electric all season long. But I do think this kind of speaks to the fact that maybe it is more offense that they do need. And obviously, Thomas Chabot will help as well. But the percentages all look good. The defensive numbers all look great. And the offensive numbers, the power play looks great. Everything else is it's decent. It's decent.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But other than really, Ross, you look at the goaltending as the bad or ugly part of this team's statistical standings. Everything else is in a really good spot. And that's why everyone was down on the Sens when they were in their slump, and I was trying to hold everyone back. I was trying to prop up some positivity. People didn't want to hear it, but now you see when it goes their direction, the stats back up the eye test that this is a good team playing good structured hockey, and they have star players that when they pop off, they can support this team's offensive needs, and those guys are doing it. Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Drake Batherson, like you mentioned, Jake Sanderson, even you got to throw him in there too. So I like where this team's at, and I've got a lot of confidence moving forward.
On Friday, though, we will look into some rumors that have been going around and some names that have been connected to the Ottawa Senators. We'll save that for a little Boxing Day, see what kind of sales we can go out and get. Tomorrow, we've got the Ottawa Senators Christmas wish list. It'll be in your podcast, library, bright and early on Christmas morning. And we know that it's going to be a busy day for everyone and gearing up as well for the World Juniors. So we'll take a peek at Logan Hensler, the lone Ottawa Senator that will be at the World Juniors this year. Okay, Billsy, we got our SensCentral Citizen standing by. It's Kaz, and then we'll look at the numbers this year versus last year with the Ottawa Senators. You're listening to Locked On Sens, your team every day. All right, we now welcome a very special SensCentral Citizen. We are going to downtown Ottawa, the heart of our nation's capital, where we find Kaz. What's going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. You guys look great. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. If people are watching, that's an all-time sweater there. Is that googly eyes on a reindeer?
Yeah, I got a pom-pom on and like googly eyes. Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
That's
Just
the-
missing
yeah.
the Centurion helmet on there, and you'd be 10 out of 10.
I don't have one.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
yeah.
we've been loving your content online. People are following you at Kaz Go Sens Go, big Go Sens Go guy. And this
Yeah.
summer in particular, was that the start of it, or even before, where you've been putting together these edits that all of a sudden they're gaining some popularity, and the ideas that you're coming up for are fantastic.
Yeah.
So where'd the idea come from to start creating videos for the Ottawa Senators?
It's honestly, it's unreal. Like this was such a spontaneous thing. Like once upon a time on like a rainy summer night, I had nothing going on. So I thought, why not fire up the old iMovie? You know, I've never opened iMovie before and done any video editing. I just saw a few Sens edits over on TikTok. So I thought, why not post them on Twitter? Because no one was really doing that. So I made a Brady and Timmy edit, and that did really well. And so I thought, why not make some more? So I made an edit for every player over the off season, and people wanted content too. So it was the off season, right? So, all that did really well. And shout out to Laleem's Martian, because he was the first guy
Yes.
to follow me and support me. And that got the ball rolling. I got some pretty big names to start following me too. Like Mark Mathot started following me, and then it's like a few other guys like Sens Buzz, Sens like Tyler, like those guys started following me, and I was like, what's going on here? So I made more and more, and it was cool to see like that sense of community too and being involved in that. But what really got things off the rails was the series of edits I made of the Sens players making weird habits during interviews. So I
Yeah.
made one of because I noticed Shabbat saying at the end of the day, like literally every 10 to 15 seconds he was saying that. So I made a 30 seconds of Shabbat saying that, and then I made one for Timmy saying yeah 100%, and then Drake saying yeah no for sure, and that kind of blew up. That went on the radio. They played that, and then Alex Adams over on Sportsnet, he DM'd me. He said, "Hey man, like your stuff is being passed around in the media team, and they all love that. So keep making them." And Ian Mendez mentioned it on his podcast over
Yep.
on with Jackson Star. He had Drake on, and he said, "Have you seen those edits?" And he's like, "Yeah, we've seen them, and it's been being
I thought he
passed
would have
around
said,
the-"
yeah, no, for sure. I've seen that.
Yeah, he said it was being passed around in the locker room, and I don't know, it was pretty cool. And then the last thing I made over the off season was the hype video,
Yeah.
and that got noticed by the team, and they were nice enough to invite me over to a game recently, and I got to ring the bell. So, and I said this during the interview too. I hope that inspires other Sens fans to make content too, because it's not hard to do, and you just got to pick it up and give it a try. So,
Yeah. The more the merrier. We're glad you're making stuff. And that hype video is insane. Our old editing teacher at college, shout out Jason Whistle, he said the key to editing is to induce some sort of emotion from people watching. And
yeah.
I don't know about you, Ross, but I was like gripping my seat, like fist pumping, like, let's go, give me
Yeah.
Senators hockey. Like, so you nailed that. But
I just watched it this morning, and yes, I can confirm.
great
Again,
way to
I
wake
should
up
say.
with a cup of coffee, getting
Thank
hyped
you,
up for
guys.
that. But
Yeah.
you said it's not hard to do, but I'll push back on that. It is not easy to make those types of videos and to be able to get so many people fired up about that. How long do you figure it took you to make that hype video? Because I think a lot of people think you just slap it together, throw some music on there, and you're done quickly. But it takes a lot. Like Ross and I have done, obviously not to that level, but videos like that before, and cutting and finding the right moments and matching it all. It's a tough gig.
Yeah, that one took a while. So that the hype video took, I would say that one took almost a couple months to really figure
Wow.
out how to do. Yeah, but the other ones like the Chabot one was pretty easy. Like find any Thomas Chabot interview and you'll find him
Yeah.
saying at the end of the day. And you just put it all together, 30 seconds of him saying that, and it
You know
turns
what you could do
into
next is Carlson
yeah.
going obviously. He was a big
Yeah.
obviously guy,
Yeah.
so that could be your next project,
And
Kaz.
Brady saying every 3 seconds. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. Kaz, how'd you become an Ottawa Senators fan?
So I'm 26 now. I started being a fan about 20 years ago when I was 5 or 6 years old. It was mainly during the Cup run when I became a big fan. But interesting story is my family's kind of involved in a family business, and the previous generation of Sens players, like the Alfie Phillips Neal era, they were regular customers to that business. So it was kind of like the Giovanni's today, where a lot of I know some Ottawa people probably know where Giovanni's is on Little Italy, but that's a regular for a lot of the Sens players now. And I know McDavid went there recently when he was in town. But that was kind of the vibe back then for us. So my dad would always meet Chris Neal, and he thought he was a really nice guy, an awesome guy. So he fell in love with the Sens then, and I started to really like the Sens too. And he was watching the games with me, and I just stuck with them. I can't imagine cheer for any other team. And I stuck through the dark days, and here we are now. Yeah.
So, what are some of your first memories of the on ice stuff? Obviously, you're talking about getting to kind of know Chris Neal and things like that, drawing
Yeah.
you in. But on the ice, what's your first kind of like moment where you're like, "Oh man, I'm hooked"?
I think it must be the Alfie goal against Buffalo in OT. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely was one of them. Ray Emery's fight I saw on YouTube, and I thought that guy was awesome. And obviously Chris Neal, he's grew up one of my favorite players growing up. Uh, yeah, and even during the dark days, Mark Stone was my favorite player. Carlson, obviously, but yeah, for sure, yeah.
How confident are you in this Ottawa Senators team right now? Because there's kind of a 50-50 split, it feels like. Some people think they're underperforming. They've, quote unquote, pissed away some points early this season. And others are looking under the hood at the numbers like we just did before you joined us here today and saying, look, there's a lot of reason for optimism. Where do you kind of stand on that kind of teeter-totter?
I'd say I'm optimistic still. I know that they pissed away points for sure, but the three things is really just they continue to improve the PK, they have continue to improve the goaltending and 5-on-5 scoring. If they're consistent in that, I think this team can still finish top 3 in the Atlantic, but it's a thin margin of error because the Atlantic is so tight, right? So if they go back to their bad habits, I mean, I could see them not finishing in the playoffs. They could finish the year outside that. So I'm still optimistic. I think this team is incredibly talented. They just need to stay consistent in those areas.
Yeah, I think they can. I think they've shown they have sustainability and they can keep it going. Who's been your most impressive player this year? Like a guy that has exceeded your expectations. I'll go with that wording.
Ooh, exceeded my expectations. Well, Timmy, obviously, he's been on fire right now, but I don't know if that's exceeding expectations because that's kind of his expectation, right?
Yep.
Do you guys have one? I'm thinking of one. I don't know.
I would probably go with Drake Batherson. Like he's consistently a guy that puts up big points, but this could be the first season of his career where he finishes above a point per game or at least at a point per game. And he's really been able to kind of bring some offense to that second line, which the Sens, obviously any line that Timmy and Brady's going to be on is going to click, but the second line never really had it. So I think now that Batherson is elevating to that level we knew he could get to, like he was getting into 60 points for a bunch of seasons, but like now it seems like he's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think my answer would probably be quickly Michael Amadio, just what he's meant to that checking line. I just love his game, and points won't always tell the tale for him. But I think Michael Amadio has probably exceeded my personal expectations because he was a guy for me that I was like, he's probably the guy that gets bumped down to the fourth line if everybody's healthy. And all of a sudden, he is absolutely not going anywhere than one of the best defensive lines in the league.
I really like Stephen Halliday.
Nice.
I think he's been
Yeah,
a
beauty.
really good bottom six guy. Yeah. I think he should stay. I know people say maybe he's a trade chip, but I think he'd be great in the playoffs too.
Yeah, he's got that touch offensively that you
Yeah.
can't really teach. Either have it or you don't. Kaz, what do you think the Sens need as a holiday present? Tomorrow on the show, we're going to do our Christmas wish
Yeah.
list. What's one thing that you'd like to see the Sens bring with them into 2026?
You know what? A lot of people are saying they need a top six winger, but I'm gonna say I think they need a top four defenseman because I think Nick Jensen has taken a step back. And I know a lot of people think Jordan Spence should be in the top four, but I don't agree with that. I think we need a more shutdown guy, another Zub, I say. And I think Nick Jensen, he's kind of just taken a step back with his injuries. So if we can bring in a top four defenseman to play with Shabbat and Sanderson and Zub in the top four, I think we'd be better off. And I think we'd be killed in the playoffs if this was the defensive lineup we have right now. And it would probably help with the PK as well. So that's my wish list for 2026. And I hope Steve Staios, I know he's cooking something. He's doing something behind the scenes. I know he's going to drop something that no one expected, and we're all going to love it. So yeah, I don't know what assets we have to trade, but but I'll let him figure that out.
Yeah, I'm with you. The absence of Thomas Chabot really showed
Yeah,
the
for sure.
holes in this team's decor depth. So I'm with you, Kaz. I think that's a bigger priority. Final question for me is, what's the next video edit you're working on? You got something in the chamber? You said Steve Staios is cooking something. You cooking something?
I'm taking a break right now, enjoying the holidays, but I don't know. I haven't thought of anything. I'm
Can I make a
taking
suggestion?
clips. Yeah, go ahead.
Hits. Give me a hype video of
Yeah.
Sen's biggest
Biggest
hits,
hits.
throughout franchise history. Like, I want to see just huge hits like Mark Method hip checks, Brady
Anton
Tkachuk,
Volchenkov.
Anton
Yeah.
Volchenkov. Yeah, that would be my Christmas wish list for you, Kaz.
All right,
Yep.
I got you guys.
Or just a montage of glove saves throughout the years.
Ooh, you know what? That's a good one.
Just glove saves, nothing
good one.
else. Flashing
All right,
leather.
all right.
Yeah.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
Okay. Great. Well, Kaz, we appreciate this, and I'm so glad the Senators were able to get you out to the game, ring the bell, because as Pillsy alluded to, there's a lot of work that goes into what you're doing right now for the love of the game, love of the team, and everyone can follow you on Twitter at Kaz Go Sens Go. That's KAZ Go Sens Go, all one word there. You got the season hype video pinned on your profile. People can scroll down and check out all the cool videos that you've been making, and a labor of love, I'm sure, Kaz, and we really appreciate it, and I'm glad that you're getting some stick taps for it because it's well-deserved, and we appreciate you coming on with us today. Merry Christmas. Enjoy
Merry
the holiday
Christmas.
season, and we'll do this again soon.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, Pillsy, want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Hope you're enjoying this time with your friends and family, kicking back and saying, hey, you know what? The Ottawa Senators, they're a better team right now than I've seen them in years past. And if that is your thought process, you'd be correct based on the numbers. The Ottawa Senators last year had the exact same amount of wins at the Christmas break as they do this year. Now, the Ottawa Senators have played a couple more games this year. So maybe you're like, okay, are they better though? Well, they've turned a couple losses into overtime losses, so their points percentage has slightly improved. This points percentage, by the way, would easily have made the playoffs last year. So I know the East is tough right now. Sens are 15th in the National Hockey League in points percentage, but 9th in the Eastern Conference. So it's one of those where if you're in the West, you're in a good spot right now. Because you're in the East, it's a battle. But the Sens obviously still control their own destiny, playing against Detroit 4 times, for example. So those 4 matchups are going to be extremely meaningful.
Yeah, and you know what, Ross? I'm going to spin zone this in a positive way, shocker, but I like that it's harder to make the playoffs in the East for the Sens. Like, this is a good team. They're playing good structured hockey. They need improved goaltending. Like, I want this team to feel like they had to battle and scratch and claw and improve and go through adversity to get to the playoffs. I don't want a playoff spot popped in their lap and they're like, oh yeah, we had a decent season. Let's see what we can do in the playoffs. No, I want them to be hungry going into the playoffs, being like, we had to work so hard to get here. We're not going to mess around. We don't want to lose in the first round again. We have to find a way to push forward because of all the commitment, discipline, sacrifice we made during the regular season. So I like it. We're none of these Western teams that are just getting handouts and being gifted playoff spots. We're working for it. Blue collar team here. Let's go.
Yeah, the boys are grinding so far. They've been without Brady Tkachuk for 20 of their 36 games. They've been without Thomas Chabot for 15 games, and they've been without Shane Pinto for 9 games. But could Shane Pinto be ready on Saturday? The Senators reassigned Ole Lycksell to Belleville. Now that means he was up on an emergency recall because there is a roster freeze. You can't be making all these transactions during the Christmas break. It takes away from the spirit of Christmas. But Ole Lycksell is expected to be in the lineup when Belleville takes on Toronto, just like the Sens are on Saturday. Well, for Belleville, they're playing at the same barn. They're playing at Scotiabank Library on Boxing Day. So we'll wait and see Ole Lycksell in the lineup there, and we'll wait even with more bated breath if Shane Pinto is back, because this guy was leading the team in goals when he got hurt.
Now, I will give credit to Ridley Gregg. He has stepped up in Shane Pinto's absence.
Better as a center.
Yeah, I was on the I'd rather have him as a winger train, but only more Ross, and I've clarified this because of the way the roster shakes out.
Dude, Nick Cousins, Ridley Gregg, and David Perron. That's your fourth line. That is a
Curtis McDermott, the top 6?
No, you got to go out and get a top 6, Pilsy. Got to go out and get one.
We'll see how that
get to that on Friday.
Goes. Yeah.
But if you have a fourth line of what I just mentioned, like that is a playoff line that can give you some good minutes, and all 3 of those guys throughout a game can take a shift here, a situation there. They'll all get their minutes. They'll get Perron out on the power play, Ridley out on the penalty kill. Like, that's the fourth line that I'm looking for come the stretch run.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine there's no team in the National Hockey League that can match a center depth of Stützle, Cousins, Pinto, and Gregg.
Yeah, it's very good. However, and we'll get into this more on Friday, but if you're acquiring a top 6 guy, in my opinion, you probably have to move one of Ridley Gregg or David Perron out of the lineup to make room.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
Yep.
Poopy
Sorry.
Pants, Pilsy.
Sorry.
So let's take a look at how this Ottawa Senators team statistically lines up with last season's team at the Christmas break. We already covered the goaltending. It's down 2% in save percentage. The goals against per game is up pretty dramatically, about a quarter of a goal every single night. They're scoring almost a quarter of a goal more, though. So you could say it's almost averaging out when it's all said and done. But their shot quality is up almost 3.5%. Their shot volume is up almost 1.5%. That's versus the other team too, in terms of their share. Their power play is up almost 3%, and their points percentage, most importantly, is up over last season.
Yeah, so this team has improved, and I mean, you got to look at the major differences. You're looking at Fabian Zetterlund here, Dylan Cousins here, and those are pretty much it as far as these teams' roster looking different come Christmas.
Yeah, and I think my favorite Christmas present for the Ottawa Senators is the over point per game players. Because last year, it was a good defensive effort as a team, and they're still building on that. So it's nothing to take away from this organization. But, I mean, you get more fans and highlight reel plays when you've got top-end talent producing, right? That's just the nature of the beast. It's an entertainment business. You want to be entertained, and the Ottawa Senators this season are getting a lot more of those offensive contributions from their top players. So I think that needs to be mentioned. Like Tim Stützle, what's he got? 38 points right now? 8-game point streak?
Timmy, 39 points.
In how many games?
36.
Okay. Well, there goes my theory.
Dang.
Yeah. How many goals?
18.
He's got 7 more goals this year than he did last year at this time. Last year at 39 points in 34 games.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. But him and Drake were the only point per game guys, and Drake was 34 and 34 last year. And now it's like, okay, Drake's taking it to another level. Brady's taking it to another level. Even Claude Giroux, how many points is he at now?
25 and 36.
Yeah, exactly. Only had 22 at this point last year. The old dogs is still improving. So lots of improvement, and we're hoping that there is still more to come with the Ottawa Senators. Last year, Shane Pinto in his first 26 games had 6 goals and 9 points.
Yeah.
He's got 12 goals already. So,
Yeah.
hey, guys are getting better.
Yeah, Pinto certainly having a much better year, and contract year might help there. And he got rewarded.
Yeah, he got rewarded, got locked up. We'll see if he's back in the lineup on Saturday. The Senators will not have a practice until that morning skate. So we'll have to take a guess at if Shane Pinto will be back, but we'll do that on Friday. Maybe, just maybe, there will be news on that front coming out before then. But we'll be back tomorrow with a Christmas wish list for the Ottawa Senators. We'll take a look at the always exciting World Junior Hockey Championships and how we expect Logan Hensler's ice time and impact to be in that tournament. The lone Ottawa Senators prospect taking part in this year's event. Okay, Pills, any final thoughts on today's show?
No final thoughts for me. Let's keep it rolling here.
Not even Merry Christmas, eh?
Well, we're doing a Christmas episode tomorrow where I'll wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Okay, Merry Christmas Eve. Any Christmas Eve traditions in the house?
Yes, actually, since I've got a German background, Ross, typically, I don't know about the rest of Europe, but in Germany, the Christmas Eve is when you open a lot of your presents. So,
wow.
Yeah, we do a little bit of you get to pick one of like your big presents, like the present that you look under the tree and you're like, oh, I think that's going to be the best one. You can pick that one and you can open that one Christmas Eve, which I love, because then you're going into Christmas morning being like, I already got a sick present last night. I already know what it is. While I'm waiting for the parents to wake up, I'll just play with my present that I got last night. And then no matter what presents I get Christmas morning, I'm already stoked. I'm already happy. So that's a little thing we do here.
Yeah, we love all the Christmas and Christmas Eve tradition. So let us know yours in the comments below. For today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Thank you for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.